Hey, what's up? This is Diesel, and today we're going to talk about Wrestler of the Year. Now, I'm kind of contemplating, should I break this down into 2 to 4 videos? Do I have enough time to make it one? Because this phone I can only get a certain time limit, which really pisses me off. Yeah, so Wrestler of the Year. This does not mean in-ring worker of the year. This means like wrestler, superstar, like overall, like most entertaining, most watchable guy, who was the man, who was the best superstar. Some in-ring work goes into this, like which match people are looking forward to, just overall package. And I'm going to do 1980 all the way to 2015. And I'm doing 3 runner-ups for every year. Starting off with 1980. Wrestler of the Year for 1980, Bob Backlund. Still the top guy, still pretty over. 1980 really was not saying much for wrestling. That's a year I hear no one talk about, so Bob Backlund by default. Runner-ups, Harley Race, Iron Sheik, Verne Gagne. 1981 Wrestler of the Year, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. He finally got his first Rotana run against Dusty Rhodes. He was really good. He's one of the best rookies of the 70s, and he finally got his due. Runner-ups, Harley Race, Bob Backlund, Dusty Rhodes. And the runner-ups, they're in order. So when I say the first one, he's the second best of the year, third best of the year, fourth best of that year. Coming in at 1982, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. His match with Don Morocco when he did the infamous Superfly, and McFoley and Tommy Dreamer were there. That was a huge moment people to this day talk about. Well, maybe not as much because of the whole murder case, but yeah. And his match with Bob Backlund, he really should have been WWE champion this year. He should have beat Bob Backlund. It was a mistake for them not to put the title on Jimmy Snuka. He really should have won it here. He was easily the best thing of 1982, hands down. Runner-ups, Ric Flair, Bob Backlund, Hulk Hogan. 1983, Ric Flair. Harley Race officially passing the torch to Ric Flair at Starrcade 83 to make him the man, the new guy, And he main evented the first Starrcade, the first pay-per-view. Runner-ups, Harley Race, Nick Bockwinkel, Hulk Hogan. Coming in at 1984, again, Ric Flair. 1985, decent year in wrestling, Not much going on, but he was definitely the most entertaining thing going on. Runner-ups, Roddy Piper. No, sorry, 1984. I don't know why I said 85. Yeah, 1984. Runner-ups, Roddy Piper. Yep, he was the second best thing going after Ric Flair. Hulk Hogan, Kerry Von Erich. Coming in at 1985. Yeah, not 84, 85. Officially this time. Again, Ric Flair. Not that much going on this year, Well, much was going on, but the first WrestleMania, Flair versus Dusty, but Ric Flair, again, just like 84. That's why I got 84 and 85 confused, because didn't feel all that different to me. First best thing going. Runner-ups, Hulk Hogan, Sergeant Slaughter, Magnum TA. Coming in at 1986, again, Nature Boy Ric Flair, but the whole Four Horsemen debut, the Ric Flair versus Four Horsemen feud. And yeah, I would definitely say, in terms of entertainment and great feuds and great matches, NWA was doing it way better than the WWF at this time. And Ric Flair was the most entertaining wrestler on the planet. during this time. So yeah, the Flair versus Dusty feud was great. And also 85, I think that was the unofficial debut of the Four Horsemen, but 86 was the official. But yeah, Ric Flair was the best thing in the world. Runner-ups, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Nikita Koloff. Coming in at 1987, Hulk Hogan. 87 was Hogan's year, hands down. I'm sorry, Flair, compared to all the other years in the 80s, wasn't saying much, honestly, because Magnum TA is supposed to be his time, but the whole injury from the motorcycle accident, so he couldn't get his win at 86. But Hogan was definitely the man this year. Hogan versus Andre the Giant, the Hogan versus Ted DiBiase feud. That was, and then Hogan slamming the Giant, WrestleMania 3, which some people would consider arguably the greatest WrestleMania of all time. Just huge, Hogan was just the man this year, no questions asked. Runner-ups, Ric Flair, Randy Savage, Ted DiBiase. Coming in at 1988, in my opinion, Macho Man Randy Savage. He finally gets his due, finally gets the WWE title. Even though unfortunately he was kind of sharing it with Hogan, it was clear that he was the man this year and they wanted to take a little break from Hogan. And Hogan was gone for a good period of time, so with Hogan gone, Savage was still doing big numbers and drawings. So, he really was the man this year and proved that without Hogan there, he could still carry the company himself. The Mega Powers were running wild this year for SummerSlam. Mega Powers versus Mega Bucks, that was fucking huge. Savage was easily the best in-ring worker of this year. His matches with Bret Hart, Ted DiBiase. So he was just the man this year. Runner-ups, Ric Flair, Jerry Lawler, Lex Luger. Coming in at 1989, this one not even fucking close. Nature Boy Ric Flair. What do I have to say that hasn't been said? His feud with Steamboat, Terry Funk, match with Sting at Starrcade. He was a heel. Then the fans just respected him so much for all the great matches he had, the feuds he had, that they turned him face. And just no one comes close to Ric Flair in 1989. For individual years, hands down, Ric Flair 89 is the greatest individual year ever. Runner-ups, Hulk Hogan, Ricky Steamboat, Lex Luger. Now on to the 1990s. 1990, rest of the year, Ultimate Warrior. Beating Hogan clean, main eventing SummerSlam. Sure, some people consider his run to the title disappointment, but, he was still very over, he was a face of the company. Sure, it wasn't drawing like it was in the 80s, but it was still doing half decent. Hogan versus Warrior, one of the best matches, of the year in wrestling in 1990. Pretty decent match between two guys who were not known to be great workers. They made it work. And yeah. Runner-ups, Ric Flair, Sting, Lex Luger. 1991. I'm going to throw it to Ric Flair. 91, pretty underrated year for WWE, but shit year for WCW. And then when Ric Flair came, his match with Piper, match with Michaels, he probably kept some life in WWE. Because Hogan, yeah, he was the man again, but it was good, just not the same as him in the 80s. But when Flair came, people wanted to see him and Hogan. They started feuding. So it gave some life to Hogan. And yeah, really liked his match with Piper. Really liked his match with Shawn Michaels. But yeah, Ric Flair, I'd say, was wrestler of 1991. Runner-ups: Hulk Hogan, Sting, Rick Rude. 1992. This was a very debatable one with the name I'm about to name and the three runner-ups. It was kind of hard to choose between those four, but my personal pick for a wrestler of 1992, Sting. Yeah, I'd say Sting. See, one could say Bret, but the thing is, yeah, okay, he had his breakout star moment at SummerSlam 92, but like he won the WWF title near the end of the year and stuff, and WWE's really going downhill. Not Bret Hart's fault, but just the steroid scandals and all that. But true Bret like was getting his big wins at the end of 1992, and he was becoming the most over guy at the end of 1992. Sting had the entire 1992, his feud with Vader, him and Vader really doing it this year, and him getting his win at Starrcade. That was a great match. Sting was easily one of the best workers in the world in 1992. If you ask me, Sting was the most over babyface of 1992. Bret Hart comes close, but true, everything started to happen towards the middle to the very end. Runner-ups, obviously Bret Hart, Ric Flair, Randy Savage. 1993, Bret Hart hands down. Main eventing WrestleMania was most over. Luger was over for a bit, but it fizzled out very quick, and they changed their mind at the last minute not to have Luger win the WWE title because more people are into Bret. When he did at King of the Ring 1993 was fucking awesome. Had three awesome matches, and in my opinion, a 5-star classic. He really should have faced Hogan at SummerSlam 93, but Hogan was a dick about it, didn't want to put him over, so yeah. But 93, Bret Hart. Runner-ups, Vader, Ric Flair, Sting. 1994, Bret Hart hands down, no questions asked. His matches were fucking awesome. His matches with Owen Hart, Bob Backlund, Diesel. Did he face Shawn Michaels this year? No, maybe he should have. But yeah, and that match with him and Bulldog versus Owen and Neidhart, involving all four members of the Hart family in the WWE at the time. Because Bret was tearing the fucking house down that year. Opening WrestleMania 10 and then closing it. Just amazing. A double performance. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart was the best feud of 94, hands down. And one of the best feuds ever. And probably, no, I would say the best feud of the new generation. So, yeah. Best wrestler of 1994. Runner-ups, Hulk Hogan, Owen Hart, Razor Ramon. And 1995, Shawn Michaels. Wasn't much going on this year. Shawn was the most entertaining thing of this year. Had a feud with Diesel, turned face shortly after that. Was making his way to the top. Won the Royal Rumble, and yeah, just not much to say. Just Shawn was one of the few best things going on in the world of wrestling this year. Runner-ups: Bret Hart, Sting, Diesel. 1996, Shawn Michaels, face of the company. Most over guy till Survivor Series 96. Best in-ring work of the year, no questions asked. Great match with Mankind. Great match with Bret Hart at WrestleMania. Main event of the big pay-per-views. Won the Royal Rumble for a second time. For the first time ever, somebody won the Royal Rumble 2 years in a row. And yeah. But I do really wish he faced Undertaker this year, but oh well, he didn't. Runner-ups: Hollywood Hogan, Undertaker and the Giant. 1997 Wrestler of the Year, Bret the Hitman Hart. Easily his best in-ring work. No. His best mic work. I'm sorry, one of his best in-ring work, because his matches with Stone Cold at WrestleMania, the pay-per-view after the In Your House Revenge of Taker, main eventing shows, his match with Undertaker at SummerSlam, and One Night Only. The Montreal Screwjob still talked about till this day. The all-time peak of his charisma with the whole anti-America thing, where heel in America, babyface in Canada, that was just awesome. The Hart Foundation, one of the greatest stables ever. And yeah, and then him being the hottest free agent, then he go on WCW, and then we all saw how that turned out. But yeah, Bret Hart was one of the most entertaining things in the world of wrestling, and just the best thing going in WWE. And yeah, runner-ups, Hollywood Hogan, Stone Cold, DDP. 1998, no-brainer, Stone Cold Steve Austin. For a specific year, nobody was more over than Stone Cold in 1998. Oh my God. Stone Cold 1998 for individual years was the greatest year for a baby face ever. Ever. No questions asked. What more needs to be said that hasn't already been said? The Merch King and he beat he beat Undertaker and Shawn Michaels clean in the same year, which no one ever beat Undertaker clean before this, and no one beat main event Shawn Michaels clean before this. Just how much people can say they did something like this. Runner-ups, easily Goldberg, Undertaker, DDP. Wrestler of the Year, 1999, The Rock. Just his fucking promos were awesome. Went from heel to face. Most entertaining thing in the business. No questions asked. His feud with Mick Foley. His feud with Stone Cold. His feud with Triple H. Him making fun of everybody. Him destroying Billy Gunn on the mic. And calling one of the greatest promos ever. The "Oh dear God." Oh my God, The Rock was funny. Sure, he wasn't winning every match, but him as a babyface is on fucking fire this year. Runner-ups, Stone Cold, Undertaker, and Taz. 2000 Wrestler of the Year, Triple H. He was the hottest thing going. Sure, The Rock's a bigger draw, but like overall work in 2000, Triple H, best in-ring worker. We're in the best feuds with Mick Foley, The Rock, and Kurt Angle, and Chris Jericho, having great matches with everybody. The Rock, Chris Jericho, Taka Michinoku, Mick Foley, Chris Benoit. You look at all the best matches of that year, and you see Triple H in majority of them, if not all of them. Oh my God. And this Triple H was one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Easily my favorite year of Triple H. Main eventing WrestleMania, SummerSlam, And just his heel heat was awesome. When Jericho beat him, fans popped like crazy. When Rock beat him, fans popped like crazy. He was just the best thing going this year. Runner-ups, The Rock, Scott Steiner, Booker T. 2001, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I really wish he stayed babyface, which could have really put him like more greater for this year, but they did that stupid idea. He was having the best matches that year. He was the most entertaining wrestler of that year. Sure, the options got smaller and smaller. As Triple H got injured, The Rock left for Hollywood for a bit. They fucked up the invasion angle, but Austin was the best thing going this year. Runner-ups, The Rock, RVD, And I'll say Booker T. 2002, Kurt Angle. This guy was easily the best in-ring worker this year. Was involved in some of the most entertaining programs, stuff Rey Mysterio, Chris Benoit, Hulk Hogan. Kane was pretty decent. But yeah, Kurt Angle was one of the best things going. Had it won the WWE title this year. And this was Angle at his pure best. Runner-ups, Brock Lesnar, RVD, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. 2003, in my opinion, Brock Lesnar was both a babyface and a heel. Main event at WrestleMania, one of the big main events of SummerSlam. Him and Team Lesnar. For me as a kid, that was one of the most things I looked forward to at Survivor Series. Yeah. Him as a heel would just fucking scary, bullying Zach Gowen, beating Chris Benoit, beating Kurt Angle. His chemistry with Kurt Angle this year, he was definitely one of the best in-ring workers of this year. He was the man on SmackDown. He was the face of SmackDown. Here comes the pain. Fuck, here comes the pain. That's what Brock Lesnar says. Taz says for when he sees Brock Lesnar, and one of Paul Heyman's catchphrases for Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was just the fucking man this year. Whether you liked him or hate him, you watched him and you paid to see him win, lose, something. You just paid to see him. It's freak of nature. Runner-ups, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero. 2004. I gotta give it to Chris Benoit. Could say Eddie, but short title reign, and he kind of gave up on himself a bit. Benoit, he was in the main events from WrestleMania until SummerSlam. Pretty decent for this year, Had a good world title run. Went over Randy Orton. Had that classic triple threat match WrestleMania 20. Sad it can't get acknowledged for what he did, but oh well. But him and Eddie hugging WrestleMania 20, great moment. Runner-ups, Eddie Guerrero, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. 2005, this one's awfully debatable between two people, and I will say, in my opinion, rest of the year in 2005, Batista. Most over guy, in my opinion, was the man, main evented. His feud Triple H was awesome. His babyface, one of the greatest babyface turns of all time. Main evented WrestleMania, rightfully so. Won the Royal Rumble. And he really got his due this year. Yeah, just one of the best things going for this year. Runner-ups, Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, John Cena. Now on to 2006. This one is debatable as fuck. And in my opinion, wrestler of the year for 2006, Bryan Danielson. Was the best world champion in 2006. Those classic matches he had, the classic feuds. In my opinion, sure, ROH was nowhere near the level of WWE. Hell, it wasn't even near the level of TNA. He was just, in my opinion, the best thing going as the American Dragon. And him as ROH champion was one of the best title runs ever in wrestling company's history. Runner-ups, Edge, John Cena, Kurt Angle. 2007, my opinion, John Cena. Biggest draw of this year. Sure, people were booing him, but you know what? He was the man. He was the company's guy. He was the guy. And it was clear that he was the biggest draw in wrestling in 2007. No questions asked. Runner-up, easily Undertaker, Batista, Mystico. Oh yeah, and also I want to say with John Cena this year, second best in-ring worker of his career. 2013. Was it 2013? No, 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 no. Yeah, 2014. No, 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 not 2014. 2015, yeah, 2015 surpassed 2007. And yeah, and that five-star match she had with Shawn Michaels, that was classic. Yeah, John Cena was Rest of the Year, 2007. 2008, gotta say Chris Jericho. In my opinion, his best year, 2008, world champion, his best heel run. The serious guy, his feud with Shawn Michaels, that was really something. And yeah, I love that feud. One of the best matches of the year with Shawn Michaels. The feud was just so fucking personal. Yeah. Runner-ups, Undertaker, Edge, Kurt Angle. And 2009, a bit debatable, but you know what? I'm going to say Jeff Hardy. Most over guy in the company. Best draw in the company at the time. Sold more merch than John Cena. Main event at SummerSlam 2009. Best feud of 2009 with CM Punk. Just the best thing going. Hands down. Sucks he left shortly after, but Jeff Hardy was the man this year. Runner-ups, Chris Jericho, CM Punk, Edge. I'm going to do a part 2 to this, to the 2010s. Give me your opinion. Who do you think was the wrestler of any one of these years? Who do you disagree with? What are your thoughts on the runner-ups? Let me know, guys.